Alan, before we had this call, you showed us, a couple like pretty cool charts. The one thing that kind of stood out to me the most was the distribution of returns. In terms of seeing how managers perform over time. Kind of thinking about that bell curve where you know the multiple standard deviations, if you will. Um, kind of talk to us about the distribution of returns. Kind of how do you guys look at that? How do you guys think about that? And it's there in your logo too, right behind you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you think about distribution of returns?
I was just going to say, Mike, we take distribution returns, normal distribution, very seriously, right? We put it into the logo right over my head. Um, Listen, ultimately, it's about compounding. There are many principles of why invest, but we really think it's about beating inflation, having liquidity, and where do you get the liquidity from your investments? And in order to do that and to compound at an attractive rate of return, you have to have normal distribution. If you were to look at an S&P 500's histogram, like an image behind me, you'd see fat tails or really barbell distribution. So the right and the left side of that histogram would be extremely accentuated. And that's not to say anything's good or bad, but it just suggests randomness. And because none of us have an infinite time frame for investment, it's important to really have investments that through time can deliver what the histogram behind me, the logo behind me does, which is normal distribution, so that through time, you can have moderated volatility, whatever that means to you. But in our world of investing, we want to try to have something like a fixed income vol, and we know we're not getting the equity-like returns, but we're big believers in the rule of 72. And if we have an attractive enough return, we can really double our asset base within anywhere from 6, 7, 8, or 10 years. And again, it's the same consistent approach. I think if there's a theme or a lesson to be had, as in life with anything, to be good at it, it just takes consistency. But many investors don't spend as much time looking across the ecosystem and the landscape like they might use Travelocity to compare 17 flights to get from Miami to LA. And the technology and the tools are out there to be able to do the same things. So, as investors, we want to find more investments that have the personality of that normal bell curve distribution that you see behind you. So that it has, not that the past is predictive of the future, but it does have some element of predictability. I have an expectation of what these investments can do through time. And by the way, they have liquidity, especially on the hedge fund side. So if in fact they are not, changes can be made.